Well, all the things that he didn't achieve. I mean, the most telling example is the fact that there was no joint communique. So we have two different versions of what happened. Very important things like Trump saying the Chinese agreed not to give any weapons to Iran. The Chinese said they'd buy 200 Boeings, or the Chinese said that they'd buy lots of soybeans and blah, blah, blah. And that doesn't appear in the Chinese readout. Now, the difference between that and when Putin arrives tomorrow in Beijing for talks on Wednesday, there will be a joint communique. And it's really interesting to speculate on what that will say about Iran and perhaps even Ukraine. Well, yeah, there was a lot of pomp and a lot of circumstance, but the circumstances were real lousy for him because the circumstances showed him to be a supplicant, a patting on the back. At least I didn't see him try to hug she. I mean, she was just, it was really, it's a very, very, very in charge. And so it was really kind of hard to watch Trump try to say this is a great, great big win. It was not a win. As a matter of fact, something interesting happened when all this happened, and it really escaped attention. Arachi, the Iranian foreign minister, was in actually Pakistan at a BRICS meeting. And what he said is, uh, the, the US has been sending us all kinds of messages about maybe restarting talks. And, we're naming our parliamentary speaker, Gabani Faf, or whatever his name is. And he's going to be our special our special representative to China. And he said one other thing. What was that? Yeah, well, Iran would welcome any help from China on resolving this dispute. So
Mm.
here, are the Iranians asking for Chinese help. At the same meeting, Lavrov says, you Indians can really help. So Trump does have some off ramps here. And the off ramps are pretty clear. It just depends on whether Lindsey Graham or Netanyahu or both have the last word with Trump. What Larry said earlier is quite true. The rare earth minerals are key, and there's not a mention of that, despite all these well-heeled CEOs from the 1% of the 1%. They're all there, sightseeing, but not having much progress in doing what they really need to do, and to get the Chinese to bend on these key issues. The Chinese are in charge, and that's going to be even more clear when Putin arrives tomorrow. My guess is no, he won't. He wants to talk to Xi about this. Now, there have been these provocations. My own sense is that they haven't reached the dimension that requires the kind of response that some people are speculating about. I don't think Russia is prepared to hit the capitals of NATO or any parts of NATO. What they can do and what they are doing, witness what happened last night, is bombing and missiling the hell out of Ukraine and the people in Ukraine that make these drones that are so noxious and so penetrating into the Russian homeland. So I think we're safe at least until Let me do a little analogy here. On the 4th of February 2022, Putin went to see Xi Jinping. Okay. It was the beginning of the Winter Olympics in Beijing. Okay. They signed an agreement that wouldn't quit. It was just short, this tiny bit short of a mutual defense treaty.
Right.
And what I think happened there is that this is just 20 days before the invasion of Ukraine by Putin. I think Putin wanted Xi's nihil obstat. Well, nothing impedes this. Yeah, go ahead, and he got it, and that surprised all my Chinese colleagues because this violated the principles of Westphalia. And that's a Chinese foreign policy. You can't do that. Well, the Chinese made an exception. Now, if if that happened back then on the 4th of February 2022, what are we now? 2026. I think that at very least, Putin is going to say, look, uh, these Ukrainians are really getting out of hand here. Last time we leaned on the U.S. to prevent them from interfering with our parade in Moscow. Just 2 days ago, they used that same approach and just hit all kinds of places in Moscow, not killing more than 3 people. But if we have to obliterate Ukraine, you're in on that, right? And you don't have any problems with that. And she, I think, will be inscrutable in saying, no problem, nihil obstat.